Hi guys, here we are today working on the CL160. What we're going to do today is we're going to pull off the rear rim and tire and get it ready to replace the rear tire tube, rubber, brakes, bearings, and just take a good look at the condition of the hub and everything. A lot of this may need to be polished up. Not sure how much I'll cover on video today, but we'll pull off the tire and wheel for now and hopefully have it back on today as well. The person that basically wants to buy the bike or has bought the bike is going to go ahead and make it more of a street driver than a street dirt, so the knobby tires come off and some street tires are going to go on the bike. So let's go ahead and get started on pulling off the rim. This bike was a basket case. If you haven't seen any of the earlier videos, you can take a look at how I received it. Basically, it was a few boxes of parts, a motor, and the motor was laying on the ground, as you can see in a picture leading into one of my videos. But basically, kind of did an assembly on it just to get it running, to see if we can get the motor started. It was seized up, but it was seized up because of a metal chip at the crankcase, which was easily removed, and that freed up the motor, so the motor does run. Although it's been sitting for years, so it will be gone through as well. At this point, basically, we're just going to take it a little at a time. The person that's buying the bike is doing it on a budget, so we're not sure how deep into the rebuild we'll get. Well, you know, try to make it look good. But anyway, here we go. So when I received the bike, there was no cotter pin on the axle. So basically I'm just taking a wrench and I'm going to go ahead and pull off the axle nut here. It's a castle nut, and you can just basically stick a screwdriver in here to help loosen it off. But since there's no cotter pin in it, it's really easy. Just untighten it, pull it out. So I got that loosened up. I want to loosen up the chain tensioners here as well. So just break loose the lock nuts on that, on both sides. And then we'll back out the adjusters. Take the tension off the chain so we can get the chain off. So that's pretty far forward. We got the drum, for the rear drum brakes, we got the drum stabilizer. Obviously they did a great job at putting in new cotter pins, a little wire wrapped around the lock nut, and not very tight. I don't think it really needs to be that tight, but anyway. Sure, it should be a little better than that. This nut's a little worse for wear as well, so it'll probably get replaced. It's been rounded off and so on. So anyway, there's that. That takes the torque link down for the brakes. Should be able to just push this brake forward and get the cable out here, I believe. Yeah, throwing the torque link back on might help. So get the torque link back on it. Sometimes it helps to press the brake lever to get the cable to stick down a little further. But at this point it looks like I'll have to loosen it up and back it off on the cable as well here. Nothing too tight on this bike. Everything seems maybe a little bit looser than it should be, but I know that's a big deal at this point, especially since it was sitting for a while. I think they were working on it when they had it apart. And that frees off the brake cable. So let's see here. Do I have to back this all the way out? Yep, there it goes. Alright, the brake cable's off, the torque link's disconnected, the tensioners are backed off, and basically at this point, kind of move it forward as far as we can, try to get the chain to come off here. It's nice and loose now. Just rotate it through, and that's loosened up. Go ahead and get this castle nut off the axle. No, you're not seeing that, but I think we all know what a castle nut is. I'll show you it after I pull it off here. So again, here is the castle nut coming off. Nice long threads. There's the castle nut. I hope you guys can see it. I'm supposed to run a cotter pin on that. They're not supposed to be torqued down real hard, but they're tight, and then you put a cotter pin in it to hold it in position basically. So now we should be completely freed up here. And all I need to do now is pull the axle out. Here's one of the the wheel tensioners, chain tensioner. Another chain tensioner and a spacer for the rear wheel. And again, there's a spacer on this side. This one runs on a dust seal or a grease seal. So that's that. And then basically we just pull this out. And we take a look at the brakes. Yeah. There's some glazing on them. Obviously dirty. Let's see if I can show you that. It's not real bad though. I've seen much dirtier brake drums than that. Should be able to just scuff them up and make them look good, but basically there is the brake linings. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's still got some meat on it. There's a pretty good amount of material there. For being old, I don't see any real problems with them, like them delaminating or anything like that, but overall not in bad shape. You can see the finish on the hub is not real great. It needs to be cleaned up. I heard something rattling around in here. What was that? There is something down in the bottom here. Interesting. Give me a second here. There's something inside this brake drum. I do not know what that is. Is that a spring? Sure enough. It looks like a spring was broken off internal to the brake drum and has probably been rattling around there for years. I see one spring. It looks like another spring can go across here, although these are pivot points. I don't imagine that they would have that there. But I'll have to take a look at the spec on it and see if that belongs in there still, or if it just got jammed in there when they replaced this one. That's weird. Anyway, alright, I'll come back when I get the next step set up. Take care.